What a day. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Jim, I think it's officially completed his migration, man. Shattering the second record. What's good, Jim? Man, congratulations on the completion. 84%, literally just crossed that right before it ended, man. You guys came out to play for this migration, dude.
And it's actually 89 because we have 5% that's like locked in a vesting contract that we can't migrate. So we'll be able to get it on the other side. So that's fine. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know right after this show, we're going to walk through and set up the post migration, and you'll be ready on Ponk. I know you guys are ready. You guys came out in full freaking force. So excited to have you, man. What's the secret? How do you get such a high turnout?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of communication right from when I first started talking with you guys about it. So even before you guys started announcing it, like the discussion, and it started way back, like months ago, like as like a kind of like wish amongst like some of the whales in the project and just the hardcore supporters. Before finding you guys, and once like bonks started coming around and like all these different launch pads with creator fees, I'd wished for your product and service to be available. I was like, man, if there was just any way that we could go over onto that. So I kind of had like our community pretty educated onto like what I'd wanted to do with the project on that. And so they were kind of really, really supportive once I introduced them to you and what you guys were doing. So yeah, that really helped.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for you to be over at Bonk. Really good, awesome team. We've had a handful of projects find a lot of success once they have migrated over. So yeah, really, really excited. Throughout this show, we got a ton of updates from our overall ecosystem as people pop in here on the spaces and on the live stream. For those that are new, maybe you're checking out because they've caught some attention from Nakamoto Strategy that was launched on Friday. We are going to dive into everything that's going on there. For those that are new, we've got a gigantic ecosystem between Emblem, Hustle, and MigrateFun, man. Lots of things going on. Almost 20 teams going to PumpFun at the end of the year through MigrateFun, Agent Hustle. Launched Hedera conditional trading this morning, going through some bumpy rides, but some testing. Saw Hedera just posted about Hustle again today, and a lot more coming from that ecosystem, and maybe some expansions to some other chains that maybe we'll tease here, as well as Emblem Vault, kicking that back up. But just talking here with our good friends, Naked Jim, and everyone that's coming in from the community. Man, Adam, how are you feeling today? We've done what, 5 calls every day for the last like
tired,
2 to 3 weeks.
We were literally at a call today, and the guy's like, "Yeah, man, I had to get away. I was so tired. I was just burnt out. I had to stop for a couple of days." I was like, "Man, when I get burnt out, I work more. I go to 18. That's when I go to 19 hours a day, right? It's like, yeah, this is gonna be a while, man. This is like, there's so much interest from obviously the migration standpoint. Then it's just like, this is what I mean. We talked about it, you know, when you and I first started with Emblem Vault, was like, man, if we could just get a couple more devs to actually be able to launch stuff that we want to launch, and move forward quickly. Like, this is what we dreamed about. Here we are.
3 years in the making, man. 3 years.
We literally have products popping. We literally have 3 products popping, different chains, different stuff happening. And it's just, yeah, this is awesome. This is what you want. This is
wait. I just realized, I think it's our 3-year anniversary at Emblem.
Really?
I think so. We joined
11/11.
I think it was 11. I think 11/13. I think is like the
Okay,
official
we got
start
2 days
date.
left.
So
All
we
right,
got
cool.
like 2 days to 3 years at Emblem, man.
Yeah,
Right.
say, you vastly overestimate what you can do in a year, and you vastly underestimate what you can do in 5 years, right? And I think this is like that thing. It took us like a full year just to migrate from the old Emblem contract, right? And we thought that was going to take weeks. Ended up taking a year, but now we can move fast, right? And it's like when we have, you know, when the idea first floated about, you know, taking the Nakamoto card or the Rare Pepe card and making like a strategy around it, we were like, bro, we could have done that in a half a day, right? Took a couple weeks to organize and get it all together, but it's exciting, man. I just and Hustle, like, even though we don't really even talk too much about Hustle, I mean, we do, but it's like, it feels like, bro, when it finally happens and something's going on some chain, and it's like, what's going to be the best way to get people onto the chain? It's going to be through Hustle. And I'm just so pumped for that massive awareness event to happen. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think the largest Hustle token holder was in Vegas over the weekend, and so I went and met up with them down at the Wynn at Earth Cafe. Pretty good spot. Chris is familiar with that spot, and we were sitting and just talking about all the different products, Emblem, the Nakamoto strategy, Hustle, MigrateFun. And he was like, yeah, I think Hustle is going to be the biggest one because of all the interest pouring into AI. But he's like, I don't know. He's like, I still think it's possible you guys are like 2 years too early for this. So you might have to just hold on. He's like, you might just have to hold on for he owns a family office. So he's like a long-term investor. He's been investing in the stock market for like 20, 30 years. And he's like, man, if you guys could just hold on for a few years, you're going to absolutely crush it. He's like, it's definitely too early right now.
I think we're actually, we are a little bit too early. Just for general, like, we know we're actually kind of building for retail users, and it just, a lot Hustle may just be, we hang on for a while. But man, when it goes, it's going to be absolutely bonkers.
The cool thing is that it's not just hanging on, like, it's just furthering development every single day.
Oh, totally.
And so, like, obviously we can't pick the narrative. If we were able to, we'd love for AI to be the narrative, crypto AI to be the narrative now. But that's kind of how we're positioning ourselves to always be in a narrative, right? We have the Emblem side that has NFTs. Now we have Nakamoto strategy that has liquid tokens backed by NFTs. We have the MigrateFun side that's always just causing attention, generating revenue. And so we always have something going on in the ecosystem. And so we can just kind of wait for these narratives to come. And then we always have products to kind of go alongside them. So I don't know. I don't know which one's our biggest product. I know they're all pretty big, or all have like such like encompassing features that can be gigantic. And it is early, but this is the best time to be a builder. Is just like, by the time that the AI narrative and the meta really like takes hold and people see the vision, the development hours that are going to be through Agent Hustle at that point in time are going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
This service is going to be crazy.
Yeah, that moat of what it takes to build this, like people are vastly underestimating. You think you're going to be able to turn on a switch. I saw somebody post a thing, oh, you can connect your API to ChatGPT and he can like do market analysis for you. It's like, bro, that was hustle fucking 8 months ago. Like, you realize how far ahead you are, right? And we realize how far ahead we're going to be when it actually happens. Like, the moat is going to be massive.
Yeah, Emblem is the key factor in all of this. But the cool thing with MigrateFun, before I do dive into strategy, Naked Gym just showing out in support a whole community. It's really powerful that you could see teams show up and you get these migration squeezes and token price go up and just the excitement. And this is kind of the conversation we've been having with PumpFun, all the PumpFun teams that have announced recently. And there's actually a lot more to come. Is that literally just 4 months ago, migrations were considered an abomination to the majority of people, a lot of the PumpFun goers, right? Because a lot of people were leaving to PumpFun or leaving from PumpFun to go to Bonk. And now all of a sudden they've all switched after it's available, right? But ultimately for us, it's just being a neutral third party. You know, we've had actually, so we've talked now with definitely over 200 teams, probably maybe 220, 230. And starting to see this question pop up frequently in these conversations is, how do you stay so neutral in a multi-billion-dollar launchpad wars where these three teams just completely despise each other, right? Between kind of PumpFun, Radium, and Jupiter. Some of them with just like past partnerships that went sour, and some of them just billions of dollars on the line, right? So people get tribalistic or territorial. And really, it just comes at what I tell all these teams is, for us, it really just comes down to focusing on the clients, focusing on the teams who want to migrate. To us, hey, you want to migrate to Bonk, you want to migrate to Pump, you want to migrate to Meteora or wherever, like, cool, we'll build that for you. But that's the focus. We're not here to do the bidding of other protocols, although they bring in the business to us. So we are very appreciative of that, and we work with them. But if you focus on the clients, then everything else kind of really just plays itself out. And that's the mantra that we embrace, whether it's on MigrateFun, whether it's on Emblem, right? Whether it's Agent Hustle. And it led us to Nakamoto strategy, right? Because we've had Emblem Vault. Emblem Vault was founded in 2016, on chain since 2020. Really one of the first NFT protocols to exist outside of a marketplace. So really, really early. And you have this TVL of over $100 million in Rare Pepe just kind of sitting there. It's been idle for almost the entire year, I would say, right? At the beginning of the year, we built Emblem 2.0, and we were talking with all the different L2s about deploying on Emblem, moving over assets. Ultimately, that really kind of faded because there's no incentive for people to bridge their NFTs to different areas, right? Or to speculate on. And that was when we actually started building this cross-chain NFT application that we haven't released yet. And it was under this idea that we felt like the NFT market had kind of reached its saturation in terms of the curation or creation of tokens, right? There's NFTs across every chain now. There's communities, but it's like, what do you do with the NFTs themselves? And you started seeing Courtyard coming up, right? The RWAs was kind of like this, like, oh shit, okay, I think we're starting to head into the next chapter of NFTs. Then it kind of faded a little bit. Then it came back, and we built this cross-chain application, NFT application, that we were planning on releasing actually at the end of the year. And then Hustle really kind of just took off, and obviously, and MigrateFun. So you got to put that on pause or hold off into the right timing. And then TokenWorks popped up a few months ago and thought it was super interesting. Obviously captured a lot of attention. Probably the biggest thing to happen in NFTs all year. Definitely. I don't think there was anything bigger. Maybe RWAs and Pokemon cards is probably the only thing that was really bigger. And so we were monitoring it, and we reached out to Adam, who's the founder of TokenWorks, pretty quickly after Punkster took off, and we asked him about the Nakamoto card. And I completely reside with him. He didn't respond for a few weeks, probably because he was just completely overloaded with everything that was happening. But eventually he got back to us, and we got on a call with him, and we were like, yeah, we want to do the Nakamoto card. And he was like, oh, you know, I'm actually building an ERCLM 55 contract already. And he was like, this is perfect fit. He was familiar with Emblem. He said he owns fake rares and rare pepes. He'd used the product before. So honestly, very easy pitch. One of the easier pitches that we've done. He understood the OG-ness, and he launched it, right? We had like kind of a timeline on when he was going to. We didn't know the definite dates, probably for the better, so it doesn't leak or anything like that. So he released it, and you know, now here we are about 3 days later since it's released, kind of undergoing the process, and we'll kind of dive into everything. But I wanted to give the background. Obviously, for us, right, for Emblem, there's 89 Nakamoto cards vaulted. The actual name is Rare Pepe, by the way, for those that don't know. But Nakamoto card kind of just hits better. Out of 298 Nakamoto cards, there's usually 300. I think Damien keeps burning them for some reason. He's faking a statement, I guess. I actually don't know how many. Do you know how many he owns? I don't know how many she owns. I think it's like over 10.
I thought it was.
Is it more?
More than I thought it was more than 10, but I maybe Joe can come up on stage and give us the actual numbers. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, but either way, so you got 89. One Nakamoto is vaulted since we started the project. One is sold, so obviously capturing some attention. And so the market cap, the vaulted market cap of the Nakamoto card is, you know, roughly 15 million or so altogether, about 50 million. That puts it higher than literally every ordinal collection that exists. Just the Nakamoto card itself.
Yep.
Right? So obviously there you have idle market cap, and you have Rare Pepe, which is one of the most iconic collections that exists. You know, Rare Pepe and Punks are probably have had the two biggest impacts, and Bored Apes in a newer sense, biggest impact on the crypto space. Obviously, Rare Pepe was inspiration for CryptoPunks. Matt and John have publicly said this. There's tweets for it as well, right? And CryptoPunks kind of got NFTs through the door for mainstream, and then obviously Bored Apes then took it kind of to the next level, but Rare Pepe was the foundation. So we wanted to go with it, and I think there's just a lot of opportunity there, and we'll get into numbers and things like that. But so we launched it, and over the weekend, I did some researching into these strategies, and I actually came up with a lot more information and thought than what I had previously expected. But here I put up on the live stream the announcement over the weekend from TokenWorks, and then yesterday we made an announcement on how Emblem is going to participate. So one thing, kind of going back to the beginning of the conversation, the one thing we had talked about with NFT speculation is people need things to do with their NFTs now, and we'll have an application next year that will kind of embrace that. But one larger thing is we've been discussing is how do you really kind of jumpstart the Emblem ecosystem itself, right? And more specifically, it's like right now 90% Rare Pepe. So right, how do you restart Rare Pepe? The NFT bull run really didn't happen until Rare Pepe took off, right? I kind of like to call it kind of like the Dogecoin of NFTs. It's like once Rare Pepe starts moving, then everything else kind of does as well, because it is such a large collection, right? But with such a large collection and distributed community, maybe 15,000 holders, something like that. You got the Rare Pepe collection on OpenSea has 8,000 holders. There's another few thousand in the Legacy collection. And then probably 5,000 native holders, maybe 10,000. So, right, completely distributed community. So it takes a lot more to get going, right? You can't just, it's not just one post and the market sends. It's like months and months and months of building interest. And what's the best marketing tactic in crypto? Number go up, right? So you kind of combine all of these and you think about what's possible here. And with TokenWorks, really it's kind of an incentive framework is what I would say it is on a general level. Obviously, it's a flywheel if you want to classify it as a buzzword. But looking over the weekend, I was looking at some of the top projects, like Vibester, and which is the Good Vibes Club, the Chimpsters community, as well as the Meebits community and Goblins, and a few of these. What I noticed is that they take the framework, and then they apply their own tokenomics on top of it, right, to keep it going. But the tokenomics need to be relative to what the ecosystem offers. Like, for example, with Chimpster, they created something that's called like the Dojo Reserve, which is essentially they're taking the 1% royalty and buying NFTs that are then going to be used to reward the community. The Good Vibes Club has something a little bit more native. They use the token to token gate. So it's like you have to hold a certain amount to get access to these different features, as well as I think they have some sort of buyback mechanism. Goblins has an interesting one where they take the 1% royalty and they buy back the Goblin NFTs and the Gob token on Solana, and then they just burn it. So they just make their whole entire ecosystem deflationary. As well as Meebits kind of just takes the royalty and just buys back the Meebits itself to put into a treasury. I'm sure I missed some things, but thinking about that and this idea of community incentive alignment is what I'm seeing some of the strategy people post. At least that's coming up on my timeline now. Emblem has a really cool opportunity to make I guess you call it a Pepe alignment, right? What does Emblem have? Emblem has some revenue of Pepe through vaulting activity. It has some revenue through OpenSea royalties, which are optional, right? So it's not a lot. Although I think from how OpenSea works is if you accept a WETH bid, then it automatically includes the royalty. Because if you look in the transaction fees, it's all WETH bids that get paid from OpenSea. And then with the Nakamoto strategy, you get a 1% royalty on all of the transactions that happen anytime someone buys NAKASTR or sells it. And I'll dive into the mechanics of that later. So we thought, hey, if we combine all three of these features that are all, residuals from the Pepe community, let's just put it back into the token itself so that we can then align ourselves with Nakamoto's strategy to encourage to get the Nakamoto card purchased. Because this is my theory, and I'll pass it around here soon. But if you get a few Nakamoto card sales rolling, there's a possibility that revenue then flows to other rare Pepe cards, right? And then if other rare Pepe cards are getting some of that value, then that will flow down, and you get this kind of downstream effect of volume back to the rare Pepe collection, right? Which then, if rare Pepe is pumping, then all of the other NFTs also start gaining some traction, right? It's that kind of residual income. Obviously, could be completely wrong here, where the Nakamoto cards that sell, they just keep the profits, which is entirely possible. But the Pepe community is quite inclusive and very, very intelligent on how a lot of this stuff works. So really, just not trying to commoditize the collection. Emblem is just a curator of rare Pepe itself. We're honored to be able to hold a lot of the supply, but so therefore we have a duty to try to encourage activity on the collection again. And so at the end of the day, we're just a participant in the rare Pepe market. It's decentralized, not owned by anybody, right? 300 artists, 1,774 different cards, 20,000 holders. And it's a cool opportunity to people to rally. There's all kinds of different Pepe derivatives and the ways that people speculate in different things. But ultimately enough, I think like TokenWorks is just going to continue to grow from here. And there's no reason why the Nakamoto card or Nakamoto strategy shouldn't be number one. And that the Nakamoto card should be multiples higher from what the CryptoPunks floor is. Right now it's 10% higher than the CryptoPunks floor. It should be many multiples higher, considering it's only 300 compared to CryptoPunks. I think the Nakamoto strategy could get there, right? You start buying a few of these, and some of the supply will never bridge over because they hate Ethereum, they're maxis, they hate Emblem, right? Anti-bridge, whatever the reason is. So you'll only get, a certain supply. Although, the rare Pepe community is a bunch of diamond hand holders, especially Nakamoto cards, where you could see a few of these sell, and then you probably see some big gaps in between the price because they're pretty smart on how it works, and obviously less holders, right? 89 vaulted, maybe you have 100 holders across the board. If they all kind of collude together or they work together, you could see that going quite high. Obviously, you all have to introduce reasons to buy the Nakamoto strategy token. Speculation is one. There's other ways to go about it, but it's kind of some of the leading thoughts here. And we do have other ideas on it, but just as we're now 4 days into it and people are calling a $1 billion market cap in the Emblem Discord for it, there's a lot to go. But Adam, you're on mute, by the way. So if you want to give us your perspective here.
Yes, sorry,
as our chief historian and once upon a time archaeologist.
Like, I think the punks guys, obviously we know a lot of punk holders. Many of them are wealthy and stuff. And so what they were able to do, basically buying the early token supply, holding it, allowing the price to really run up, just created a lot of awareness for it. And I think in some ways, like, the Pepe community could do something similar, especially with how few are listed and stuff like that. It could get really interesting really fast. And of course, everybody has a sellout price to sell their cards. But it could create something that's really interesting just as far as an awareness goes. And yeah, I think, us just kind of pushing any revenue or anything back into it is just like, we want the Pepe community to grow too, right? We want the awareness to build. So that's our strategy. We're hoping, Pepe community comes in and kind of buys into that strategy. I think if you saw the timeline the first few days, you realize how still the majority of crypto Twitter has no idea what the fuck Rare Pepe is. Like, it's incredible.
It's crazy
at this point in time, but people are like, this is the first time I've seen this card. It's like, what? We are on different fucking timelines, right? But that's the way it is. Like, awareness is so fractured. People don't know shit about nothing. And so, like, to create awareness event and create the opportunity here where, this card does go to 100 million or to whatever it is, it's an opportunity. And so we're definitely on board for trying to create that awareness for sure.
Yep. So the Rare Pepe collection on OpenSea, 33,000 NFTs vaulted. That's pretty crazy. 1,692 unique cards vaulted out of 1,774. So you got the large majority there. Interesting part is actually OpenSea is very interested in this stuff. We have a chat with OpenSea, so I just kind of DM them about the Nakamoto strategy token. And for some reason, this is like the most interested I've seen them about anything we've ever done. And so maybe there's some more stuff to come from them in the future. But really, right, I put this post out and I'll pull it up here about kind of what are the goals of this. The number one is really just kind of spreading awareness to Rare Pepe itself, right? I think that is an incentive alignment that everybody in the community wants, regardless if you like Emblem or you like cross chain or you don't, right? Everyone's going to have their differences, but I think everyone really wants Pepe awareness, Rare Pepe awareness to go up. And I think this definitely does that and at least gets us kind of there. We obviously want to increase Pepe vault demand, right? So what I was saying is, right, if Nakamoto sales trickle down or if people buy Nakamoto strategy and the price goes up, I could see a portion of that value going into the Rare Pepe cards. If Rare Pepe cards are selling, then that means people are going to start vaulting Rare Pepes. If people are vaulting Rare Pepes, then that volume of $20 per vault is going to go back into buying Nakamoto strategy, right? So it's like, if I visualize this, it's like, trying to kickstart the dirt bike when you keep hitting the clutch, trying to get the dirt bike to start, or if you're about to, start a weed whacker or a lawnmower and you're just continually pulling that to try to get it to start. That's kind of like what I feel like with Rare Pepe. It's like you got the machine there and it's ready and it's proven to be very successful. I mean, 35,000 ETH traded in 2021 of Rare Pepes. That is over $100 million in just like a quarter, right? So insane. The all-time high for the Nakamoto card is 200 ETH. I think it's on ETH. I think on Bitcoin, I think there's like a 5 or 6 Bitcoin sale. I think was around that time. I don't have the specific information. I'll have to go to pepe.wtf, but there's a lot there. And so it's really just thinking, you know, how do you get this whole thing kickstarted? And we've been talking about this for internally for a year about how to do this. I think this is probably the best way to get the Pepe vault demand increased. What else has this led to? Other Bitcoin NFT collections reaching out about wanting a strategy. So we've been talking with Adam about, you know, what's the best path forward here on how do we do this token works times emblem collection, because he believes that ETH is the best place to trade NFTs. We also agree that's the best place. I mean, we were on the Ordinal show yesterday making the pitch, which is the same pitch we made 2 years ago or almost 3 years ago now at this point, about how every Bitcoin collection should have probably 10% of their supply, maybe, you know, 10 to 20% of supply on ETH, just so you're literally in the most liquid environment in the world. It'd be like trying to sell an item in the real world, but you don't sell it, but you're refusing to list it on eBay for some reason for territory. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Right. You have Heinz ketchup, but you're not sold at Walmart. Like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Yeah, right. And so over time that eventually, you know, people will realize that, like, the runes community itself, they're now moving all the runes to all these chains, but for some reason they won't do it with the NFTs. I don't know. Right. We have relationships with Gandhi. Gandhi has Pepe listed. They have Taproot Wizards collection listed through Emblem. Like, you get hooked up into all these different systems through ETH. Like, I'm really surprised OpenSea hasn't purchased some of the rare Pepes for their like little treasury giveaway thing that they're doing with the points program. But you get included in all these different things. Even just the opportunity there itself for being on ETH is that possibility. So we've had, I think, 3 or 4 ordinal collections reach out already about doing a strategy. A few from Solana have reached out about it, as well as a few rare Pepe cards, actually, card owners have reached out. So we're kind of going through those conversations to see. It's a brand new design space, right? So, you know, it could completely take off. It could not. Who really knows? I did talk about the Nakamoto flywheel. You know, this could actually be the first TokenWorks collection that's actually backed by real revenue, right? By OpenSea royalties, but more so vault demand. The other ones, it's the flywheel is kind of infused by the royalty of buying the strategy token. But here it's like, if people are vaulting, and if we expand this to not just Emblem, but to vaulting revenue for all these ordinal collections and stuff as well, right? That's like real outside capital that's now entering the market. And then the final goal is just Nakamoto strategy to acquire as many Nakamoto cards as possible entirely. I think really once you get maybe 2 or 3 down, I think that's when you really start getting some real interest here. Or who knows, right? Some of the rare Pepe holders talking about it. I don't think a lot of people realize, but the Punk 6529, I think, has like 5 rare Pepes faulted. A lot of big holders, a lot of the popular NFT collectors, a lot of entrepreneurs in the space all have Nakamoto cards in some capacity, whether it's on Emblem or whether it's on native Bitcoin, to say the least. Chris, I will pass it over to you on your thought of Nakamoto strategy, currently sitting at a $787,000 market cap, $125,000 in volume, and it actually just flipped other deeds. So in one day, it literally went from 20th to, I think it's sitting at 7th now. 1, 2. The only things ahead of it is Moonbirds, Pudgy Penguins, Bored Apes, Chimpers, Good Vibe Clubs, and CryptoPunk. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so it's now sitting at 7th out of 20th, where when it launched, or just 2 days ago, it was at 20th.
Naka strategy, good strategy, it seems, huh? You know, I think that this was an important step, and it really just cements Ethereum as the NFT chain. Once again, it reinforces that people really like the mix between speed and decentralization. You know, if we were thinking from like first principles, we really thought NFTs would really flourish on Bitcoin because, you know, art, moving slow moving market, immutable, and things of that nature. And we think that that can be a good choice to mint art and to mint NFTs, but I think that a lot of them are going to continue trading on Ethereum. I think that that just kind of proves this thesis out even further. And so, you know, being a cross-chain protocol, Emblem Vault, and being able to bring these NFTs from all these different chains right to where we can meet the actual collectors of NFTs is a huge step. So just getting NAKASTR out to the market, and the response so far has been super, super incredible to see. And like, can we do that with Solana NFTs? Like Solana NFTs exist, but they never got real big traction, like mainstream attention. Ordinals, they exist, but they definitely never got mainstream attention. And so what happens if we can meet actual NFT collectors where they are with these NFTs that are probably attractive in some capacity, and then add some sort of tokenomics onto it and some incentives? I think that we can be in a pretty good spot. So definitely following the success of the Nakamoto strategy, I think that, you know, we can see some successes in some other pretty big collections from some other chains. And then that even further reinforces Ethereum being the NFT chain. And so TokenWorks and Emblem Vault is like just a partnership that was very natural, made a ton of sense from everyone, and benefited everyone across the board. And obviously, we just love to see the Pepe community win. You know, we have deep roots in the Pepe community. It is crazy to see so many people just be like, what is a Nakamoto card? Like, how are you in NFTs and you don't even know about a Nakamoto card? I mean, it's wild, but, you know, there's huge disconnects. And I'm just excited that we're able to kind of spread awareness and discoverability once again. So it's cool to see, you know, it's cool to see people win. I mean, the market's been down, the sentiment is terrible, and it's just really cool to see people win once again, and to have like a small helping hand in that. But I think that this opens the door for more collections from Emblem Vault and TokenWorks in terms of a strategy perspective. And I also think that you know, people should start thinking of revenues that are able to come from this, and attention, and just how many different kind of catalysts this might propel into the future, and how it can really only happen with TokenWorks, right? People have tried to spin up their own kind of TokenWorks clones, but they haven't had the success because they don't have the correct umbrella. They're not meeting the users where they are for that type of product. And so being able to meet NFT collectors where they are, and token buyers of tokenized NFT collections where they are, it seems like a pretty big win from our perspective and the TokenWorks perspective. So I'm excited to see this relationship develop further.
Yeah, I think there's really maybe 5 to 10 different outcomes that we're looking for from this collection. Really, if we get like 2 of them, it's like a big win. I think anything after that just continues to reinforce the legitimacy of all 3 products and communities involved, right? Emblem, TokenWorks, and Pepe. You get this like 3-legged flywheel. For us, right? What's like the possibilities, or what are things that we're looking for? Well, first is just restarting the Pepe demand, restarting Pepe activity, right? Like the emphasis of just trying to kickstart the car, kickstart the Ferrari that's been sitting in the garage for a year, and that for some reason won't turn on. So you got to try to get that turned on. Increase vault demand, increase TVL for Emblem. Obviously, from the Nakamoto strategy side of things, people buying the token, right? As the token goes up, Pepe strategy goes up, which means there's more awareness around Pepe. So there's like 5 or 10 different flywheels that are kind of entrenched in this that could be activated at any capacity. And yeah, it just makes it really, really exciting. If you think of like additional tokenomics that could be added to this, kind of consider this one thing. And I won't say this is for certain yet, but just kind of the thought of what if Pepe strategy was like, or it could mimic Punk strategy, where other collections that are using Emblem were shared at some part of the royalty fee that can then buy and burn Nakamoto strategy, just like with Punk strategy, every collection, right, has a 1% fee that goes to buying and burning Punk strategy, right? That's a pretty big flywheel on top of that, right? Then you ensure that whenever Nakamoto strategy gets to a high enough price, and then people start trying to bypass the fees through side LPs and exchanges and stuff, that all of these other collections then basically come in to support the buying and burning of the Nakamoto card outside of our own flywheel. I was looking at like Punk Strategy, and you see it seems like once it got past a certain market cap, there was 2 other liquidity pools that popped up that actually traded a premium now. They trade it like, so Punk Strategy is at a $36 million market cap, but there's this other liquidity pool that trades at like a $45 million market cap. So like a 9% premium. So it seems like most Punk Strategy happens there, but there's still 25,000 or 30,000 a day, or I guess it's 60,000 a day, according to the strategy site today, from Punk Strategy. And that's from basically all the other collections activity that are going to buying and burning, right? So you try to think ahead here. I mean, I'm not saying all that's going to is like for certain. We obviously still have to have some of the ongoing conversations with Adam, and obviously you need teams who in demand to come in. So it's always the chicken or the egg situation here on, you know, what actually gets it all activated. Ultimately, the simple answer is probably just getting a few of those Nakamoto cards purchased, and people start really trying to figure out what it is. Kind of funny side note is I was reading some of the comments yesterday of people commenting on Nakamoto strategy. I saw some of the HNFT people coming in talking about firsts, and it was giving me horrific flashbacks of the ongoing discussions of what a token is and what a token isn't.
NFT, bro. It's not an NFT. I think I retweeted the fucking meme, which was like, and the link's broken too. And it's, you know, it's like, it's not even art. You know, it's just like, whatever. It's so, you know, yeah.
I saw somebody from the historical NFT community debating with, I think it's just like an ETH NFT person about the token is the art, and like how that person just like couldn't comprehend what that idea was because they're just like kind of newer to the space. And the one thing I would just say is if anyone from the community is watching, to just try not to repeat 2021, 2022, because you will push people away. Especially now, the people who are coming in even more are a little bit even, I guess you would say, softer.
They care even less. They
yeah.
care even less. Okay.
Yeah. And so you're kind of just beating a dead horse, or you don't want to prevent people from participating. That's why a lot of people left the historical NFT community, myself and Adam included. Well, we kind of got shunned from the community, I guess. But just be soft with the people. Just let them, you know, whether Pepe's first or not, or whether it's a token or not, who fucking cares? Just let them figure it out. For most people, they probably won't even realize that it's a Bitcoin NFT. They just think it's an ETH NFT. Who cares, right? If people think it is or not. Yeah, Dave says HNFTs aren't cool. No, HNFTs are cool. I love HNFTs. I think a lot of people like HNFTs. It's the communication around it from the community that pushed a lot of people away. I remember talking about this with Zeneca and a few of the other ones, a DCL trader or DCL blogger. During the time, they're like, we love HNFTs, but anytime we talk about it, it's just all hate because they got one specific detail wrong.
Yep.
Right. And so,
and especially this, where it's like, it's a meme coin to buy the underlying NFT. It's like, that's not, you know, I don't want to participate. Well, good. Don't participate, bro. You don't have to, you know. This is for people who want to trade meme coins, man.
Dave says, I'm kidding. I just love when people realize a counterparty exists. No, me too. Me too. Yeah, it's funny. I saw Al from the Pepe Does It WTF account reposting some of the stuff I thought was hilarious, right? You could go about it in that way, is the memes. I'm just more talking about like the aggressive people who just like don't let up when people are like, I don't care. It just keeps going. Bratoshi says, if number goes up to the right, that shit is cool. Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's exactly right. And honestly, that chart, man, then this is actually what I was talking about. What'd you say? It looks like it's at like almost 800K and like very few sellers, right? These are like, so the people who've bought it so far, okay, this is like, nobody's really selling yet. This is the core group. So this seems to be like the floor's in, right? So now it's a matter of awareness.
Yeah, and we have 218 holders. I still think that's actually the lowest holder count. I think the lowest one was like 240, at least from what I've seen. They don't have the numbers specifically posted on the NFT strategy.fun site. But I believe when I was looking through posts, it's the smallest. I don't think it will be the smallest, but we're just getting a core group of people participating, right? I encourage everyone to participate. I think there's a cool flywheel here. Actually, I was thinking about this the other day, and I'll probably put a post out about this later, but I think if you're somebody who mints Pepe vaults, this could essentially be like a rebate token, right? If you put 1 ETH into it now, and it goes from 800K to 1.6 mil, you've essentially paid for like 6 months of vaulting fees, right? And because the vaulting fees go back into buying the token, essentially you're paying yourself for vaulting, right? Like in some capacity. Obviously, people can sell the chart and stuff, but just thinking of that way, like we have 5 different wallets that have minted 1,000 vaults, which is $20 per. We do have a discount program that goes down to 8, but that's going to be eliminated here pretty soon. But if you just use the basic number of 20K, right? Literally, you put in, again, 1 ETH, it goes up 3x, right? Or it goes from 800K to 8 mil. You've literally paid for your entire history of multiple years of vaulting, right? In it. And the vaulting revenue goes back into it. So an interesting kind of parallel there for if it ever catches on or if people kind of realize that. And then again, we can expand it to not just Pepe vaulting revenue, but it could be all of Emblem revenue in some capacity. So I'm excited about it. It's interesting. I do think from like a social perspective as well, from all the team members and the accounts, it's good to like find different narratives that you could plug into, like trending narratives that you could plug into your existing models. Because I do think there is something that's called like timeline exhaustion, where it's like if I just continually bull post hustle every day, 10 posts per day, people just get tired of seeing the same thing over and over repackaged, right? You need something fresh. Need something new. It doesn't mean we are banning hustle, and that's by no means, right? This all flows to the hustle token at some point in time, right? You could think Emblem is a beast machine. It's just got to be restarted, especially with the Pepes. That's like, there's no doubt, and there's no reason why Nakamoto strategy shouldn't be number one. And that's the entire goal here.
Bro, how many millionaires are we at? 75 millionaires, people who sold Pepes on OpenSea in 2021. And it doesn't take much to move these meme coin charts. We know that. It literally takes almost no money to jump these things to 10, $20 million. And then it's all discussion, especially, I mean, dude, imagine if somebody holds, 10 of these cards or something like that. It's a pretty small investment to pump your own bags here. This is like, so it could get interesting. I don't know. I don't think we've caught that yet. But it doesn't take much to do that. I think that's, to be clear, I think that's what happened with the punk strategy. It's just punk holders are like, let's pump this thing up, raise attention, sell a bunch of floor cards. Like that happens. I think it's just way more interesting with Pepe because there's just such a limited supply. It's really interesting.
What's cool too is it adds another buyer into the market. It adds another buyer of last resort that's just always going to be there with a steady bid. So in a sense, it's like a plunge protection. If someone wants to floor their NFT at a low price and the TVL in the protocol is higher than that, boom, just automatically snaps it up. So it's just like a ghost bid that's always ever present. And, I think that this is coming at an exciting time. We always talk like we can't jumpstart the narratives. They have to flow naturally, but meme coins are obliterated. Like, everything across the board is completely down. Volumes are down. People are like grasping for a PumpFun airdrop, but NFTs have been, in the background for so long, and maybe it's time that people are kind of like looking for something to do. So attention's pretty divided, and it's definitely seems like a new narrative can be spun out of something like this. So definitely a good time for it.
That is interesting. I didn't even consider that. Like, so right now the treasury has almost 18 ETH sitting in it. In theory, you could just accept the 18, or you could just floor your Nakamoto card at 18 ETH and it would just buy it automatically. That is kind of interesting. I also know there's also resting bids on the Nakamoto card, and this is the first ERC 55. So it's like, all these other collections are 10K collections. I think some are like 5,000 and 6,000, but literally 89 vaults as of now with a max of 300 NFTs or 298 NFTs. So you could get people holding on. There's all kinds of different mechanisms. Everyone's aligned. I was thinking about this interesting flywheel where, and we'll probably put this post out maybe next week about how much tokens that Emblem's acquired so far. But there's a point where you could see, and I was thinking of this flywheel, right? Because the flywheel essentially is this. You buy the token has a 10% swap fee. Of that 10% swap fee, 8% goes into the treasury, 1% goes to buying and burning Punkster, and then 1% goes to us, Emblem. And we're using that 1% to just buy Nakamoto strategy. So essentially you're saying, right? So 8%, yeah. So that whenever a Nakamoto card gets purchased, the protocol itself lists it 20% higher than where it was. So right now the floor is 40 ETH. So once the Nakamoto card is purchased by the treasury, it will list it at 48 ETH, right? And then once that Nakamoto card is purchased by somebody that's not the protocol, because you can't buy your own NFT, it'll take all 48 ETH of that and buy Nakamoto strategy and burn all of it, right? So you could see this impact where anytime that happens, the chart probably gets a gigantic candle upwards, right? I was trying to look at it at the Punks one. It's kind of hard though, because there's so many traders in it. You don't know if that big candle up is just somebody coming in and buying it with ETH, or if it was like the protocol coming in and buying the Punk and burning it. But here, because there's less tokens, it's easy to kind of look at it and see. But for us, we're actually buying the token, right? So there is, I was thinking of this. I don't know if it actually works in practice, but what if Emblem, right? Let's say the token gets to like, I'm just going to say flat numbers, 100 million, right? And you have 10% of the supply. What if you sold a portion of that supply to then buy the Nakamoto card, which then has 120% price impact instead of a sell impact? Wouldn't that in theory push the price higher? And if you do that 3-4 times, right, you're essentially making the price go higher with the Nakamoto cards and selling it. So I've been really thinking of, there's really some crazy tokenomic flywheels here, especially on the downside. Whenever the market sells off, you still have that 10% swap. So it's still playing into the flywheel, even on the downside, which I think is kind of the beauty of the protocol itself. And no doubt in my mind, I think we'll probably see 100 of these strategies by next summer, I think, or maybe by the end of the year if I want to be safer. Maybe I'll put that into like my predictions for next year.
Predictions.
next year's predictions.
It's cool too. Similar to how we have like migration speculators that kind of sift through all the migration groups and teams and overlook them. I think it's pretty obvious that that's happening here too, where there's TokenWorks speculators that are sifting through all these different strategies. The communities are commingling. So maybe we should do a space with some of the other strategies, or at least get in contact with them and kind of cross market, and maybe, we can learn more about them. They can learn more about us. And I think it's just a net good for the space. But I think that, just really meeting people where they are is a big theme here. And, a lot of people are, if you're a token markets buyer, I think you're looking at all these collections.
Yeah, we've definitely seen it. I've had a few people reach out from the community as well. It's kind of funny now that we've been building for 3 years and have 3-4 different products, that you kind of see these same kind of cultural or social things happen whenever there's a new protocol. And this happened with MigrateFun. This happened with Agent Hustle. You launch a product and you'll get, 5 to 10 different people DMing you who are kind of in the ecosystem already, right? With Agent Hustle, it was like people in AI starting to message you, or people who are in the Emblem community messaging you. With MigrateFun, it's like all the AI companies being like, oh, we thought of this project, right? And here it's kind of the same thing, again, messaged by a few people who are in the TokenWorks community saying, oh, this works, this doesn't work, we like this, you should do this. And that to me just shows strong signs that this is only going to continue to grow, right? Because generally if you walk into a new market, you got nobody reaching out to you asking about or telling you, hey, this works, this doesn't, you should do this, right? It's just people yelling, hey, can the price please go up? But if people aren't talking about, hey, please price go up, but hey, these are the things you should do, it shows that there's, like, to me, some real demand there. So yeah, kind of excited for that. Sergio and the Good Vibes Club founder started following me recently, so I'll reach out to them. We'll also need to get Adam on here as well, which I think he'll do, but I think we'll do it at an important date in time. So obviously you got to keep the speculation going. I'm excited to continue. We've got a lot of conversations over the next 2 weeks, or a call schedule for teams who want to go and create a strategy. And we're kind of figuring it out on our own as well, right? What's the right onboarding mechanism for getting these vaults through the door and then to the token strategy. So stay tuned. Nakamoto strategy, 800K, continuing to grind, sitting at number 7 now, up from number 20, just literally less than 24 hours ago. So good job to the community, but still lots and lots of room to grow. Outside of that, of the ecosystem, we did cover MigrateFun, and we're going to be helping Jim close out their post-migration right after we end this show. From the hustle side of things, we launched Hedera conditionals this morning. There's a few bugs in there that's still being worked out. Saw the Hedera Foundation actually tweeted about hustle. We do have a new, I think we're going to be launching our next chain expansion next week. Kind of working with with our chain expansion partner to help co-market it. It does seem like they are on board, just kind of going through their process. It's the same thing we did with Hedera. Each of these blockchain foundations and ecosystem managers have checks and balances that they have to go through. And so we want to try to align, because hustle communities made it loud and clear they don't want us to release things unless there's like some co-marketing stuff, right? Because number is not being, or the price is not being reflected by the production that's being released. Although we are in a bear market for AI agents. So I mean, you look at the, I'll pull up cookie.fun here, but you look at the agent space, it is down horrendously. Obviously hustle included, but still up. It's down so bad. We have less than 2,000 agents now. There was 2,100 agents like a month ago.
That's funny, right?
So you got literally agents closing up shop and people just basically calling it quits.
The agents themselves are quitting.
Inspired.
I can't do this anymore. I'm out.
Bankers up. It looks like so Bankers at 40 million, Griffin at 17. You got Hanon down at 11. Hustle down to 3.3. I think there was a whale who exited today, it seemed like. So still grinding out. I mean, if you think about it, the last time we hit this, like the AI bottom, we were at 600K. Now we're at 3 million. Last time we hit a bottom, I think the bottom for Griffin was like 30 million. Now it's at 17 million. And the bottom for Hanon last time I think was around the same 30 million. Now it's at 10. So these and Banker's actually higher. I think the last one was at 30 million. Now it's at 40. So really Hustle and Banker are the only AI agents that are actually at a higher low than the previous time that the AI agents had a big sell off. And obviously Agent Hustle has the biggest increase, smaller market cap, but it's up 5x from that low. Banker's up 50% or 30% from that low, where every other project is pretty much lower than where it was. So they made lower lows and we're making lower highs. So I think that's positive. It's just people just got to pay attention to this stuff and look at the ecosystems. Bratoshi says, price go down, I buy. Price go up, I buy. Not worried, don't care. Give me more hustle. Yeah, the hustle mode is always on. Hustle mode always on.
Have you seen the team this excited or this bullish or this just like optimistic? We're always optimistic, but I don't know. Shannon is absolutely firing. Adam is absolutely firing. The dev team absolutely firing. All of our products across the board are absolutely firing. So I don't know, just from my perspective, the team has been climbing uphill. We're always climbing uphill nonstop. The incline isn't as steep as it, has been in the past. So running is a little bit easier for the team, and just the surface area, the attention, the partnerships, the integrations, the treasury. I know we're in my opinion, by far the comfiest spot we've ever been in. It's important to not get comfortable, but it's nice to just like be able to at least breathe a little bit.
I don't know any other team that's on one side while simultaneously working directly with PumpFun and BongFun and Radium, while also working with the biggest NFT project of the year, while also working with blockchain foundations for their AI project. Literally talking with everyone. And we're talking with all the exchanges. We just talked with Binance, a few days ago.
Bro, building is bearish. Nobody likes it. Not releasing product. Just create some fake narrative. Don't even have a product.
Buy
Don't
your
even have a brand.
followers. Just
Buy
farm it.
followers. Why
Farm
doesn't
me.
Hustle account have 1 million followers yet? Create fake numbers, fake daily active users. Just fake the whole fucking thing.
Why isn't Hustle tweeting slop out 24/7?
Bro, it's so awesome, man. I love our position. We're good, dude.
Seriously.
Yeah. Running lean with 9 people. Kind of crazy. 3 products, 9 people.
Yep.
And yeah, we continue to grind. What's today? Today's Tuesday. I thought today was Wednesday. So we'll be back on Thursday. We host a show.
It's Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day. For those that are new who just found us through Nakamoto Strategy, yeah, we host a show Tuesday and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Generally have on guests from a variety of our different products. Sometimes we'll do market shows like this if there's like a bunch of stuff going on that we just need to talk about and dive into all of the details. Really, really exciting time ahead. We'll be back. I'm going to wrap it up here, and then we're going to get on a call with Naked Jim, wrap up their migration, and send them off to Bonk as the number 2 highest migration turnout, 84%. Really, dude. Awesome community. Was not familiar. The one thing that I do love with the MigrateFun product is being able to just not only talk with the teams, right? Like with a lot of times we're just talking with teams. With the migrations, you're talking with the teams and the communities, which is a lot of fun. Makes it really, really cool.
I wanted to say this before we went into strategy when we were on MigrateFun, but it's underrated, but it's like the most fulfilling product that we have. It's extremely wholesome to talk to these teams that are like on their last straw. There's a lot of these teams that are doing everything they can for their communities, and they're just out of options. And so to be kind of like a lifeline for a lot of these teams going forward, not saying that that's Jim or anything like that specifically, but a lot of the teams that we talk to are out of options. They're dying for their community and to try and get something to work. And MigrateFun is like a lifesaver to them. So in this industry where it's like so cutthroat and so treacherous, it's just like really refreshing to just be a helpline to a bunch of teams. So just an underrated perspective from me.
Yeah. And becoming slowly our most profitable product, most profitable product of the year, but also like one of the most attention grabbing. Maybe because it's on Solana, that's where all the attention is, but the demand for it's quite insane. Literally created a second industry. The company did. Isn't that crazy? Created the vaulting industry, tokenized vaulting industry, or cross-chain NFT bridging industry, and now just created a migrations industry as well. Although migrations have existed before, right? And bridging kind of existed before Emblem. Not NFT bridging, but just bridging in general. We really created 2 of them. AI agents, obviously there was multiple at the time, but we were first in that first group for AI agents. So what we do is we just continue to experiment, continue to build out new products. And Nakamoto Strategy is one of those new ones, right? It's not Emblem token, it's a community token, but we have the means and means of production to help push that forward. And so we're going to continue to do that. Appreciate everyone who's joined us. Make sure you're following the Emblem account for updates for Emblem Vault, Nakamoto Strategy. Follow Agent Hustle if you like AI, cross-chain trading. The MigrateFun account's not here, but also give Naked Jim a follow. Awesome community. You're going to be wrapping up their migration here in the next 30 minutes. And shout out to the Naked Jim community who showed up on every post. That has really, really crushed it. We'll see you guys Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Until then, stay safe out there and have a good Veterans Day.
Later, guys.
Have a good week.